So organizational structure. Organizational structure, we most of the time we think that it is just a document. No, it's not just a document. It's not just a drawing, but it's a blueprint of the organization, and it is the strategy of the organization or the tool to drive the objective of the organization. For an example, if your strategy is to penetrate, you have to have a good coverage across the geography. So if you are talking about a particular geography, your structure should support to cover the entire geography, to go into the extreme corners of the geography. So that means company has already identified your customer or your target segment is spread across the geography, so that you have to have more number of people, feet on street, you can say, people on the streets, or people who are visiting the customers, meeting the customers, maybe the distribution channels or the end customers, depending on B2B or B2C. So you have to have more feet on street, and when you have more feet on street, you have to have more supervisors, maybe the area managers or area supervisors. So likewise, it cannot be a short structure. Short structure meaning what? You can't have only 2 layers. You might have to have 3 layers, 4 layers, so that you can have a better penetration. But if you think that you are into more of market development, so that means what? You have to do a lot of research. You have to understand the new market. So that means more than feet on street, you may need people to do research, to find out the customer requirements, new customer needs, new customer potential. So the need, the organization structure for the penetration strategy versus a market development strategy, it can be different. So we learn about like couple of different structures, geographic structures. That means you are covering the entire geographies, or you can have even customer specific structures, especially when you do market development. That means the new customer segments for new products with the new customer segments, so that you have to have a very customer specific sales force, so that you can understand the customer requirements very carefully and you can cater to those requirements. So in that case, you can create new products to those customer segments. Similarly, if you are very product specific organization, you maybe have a range of products, but those products will be different from one to another. So if you take FMCG, you can put all those FMCG product into one category. But if you are a IT based company, we'll say you are selling IT solutions. So you may be having different types of IT solutions. You may have applications, or you may have systems, or you may have ERP, enterprise resource planning systems, or you may have sales monitoring systems, so that you need to understand those product specific or specialized people will be required to approach your customer. We learned the sales process. So to follow the sales process, so the entire sales force will not be able to sell all products, but you may have to have people who are very specific or specialized on certain products. Or else if you take a advertising company or an advertising agency, there you will not be able to have geographic structure or a product specific or a customer specific structure. Sometimes you may have you may need to have a hybrid structure, where you have to, like, all those business development managers or business development executives will have to work with the client relations, we'll have to work with the content development, we'll have to work with the strategic people or strategy formation people. So likewise, same executive will not be reporting to one hierarchy, but will be reporting to many hierarchies. So likewise, depending on the organization, depending on the organization's objective, depending on the business, you need to have a structure which will be suitable. So in case if somebody asks, okay, what is the best organizational structure for a company which has the penetration as a strategy, so you can argue you will have to have a geographic structure, which I also personally feel is the best, and then you have to justify why it is. So for example, very simply, if you have a geographic structure, you may have an area supervisor or an area representative who is responsible for a smaller customer segment. So likewise, you may have a lot of salespeople. So generally, geographic structure, the companies which has geographic structure has larger sales force. For an example, Hemas, Unilever, you have a huge sales force, feet on street, because their strategy is penetration. That does not mean that they don't have another arm for product development. Yes, they have an arm for product development. They have brand development teams. They have their strategy development teams. They have demand creation team from the marketing. But also in terms of sales, for their penetration, they want more feet on street. So likewise, depending on the organization's objectives, depending on the organization's strategy, you may need different organizational structure. So organizational structure is also part of the strategy. If you don't have the proper organizational structure to meet with the requirements, you will not be able to meet your objectives of the organization or to meet the demands of the organization. So we need to understand the advantages of the organizational structure. So mainly, if you have organizational structure, you can define the roles and the responsibilities of each person. For an example, area manager's roles and the sales executive or sales representative's roles will not be the same. So most of the companies have the same role or same responsibility for both of the people. Then you are wasting of resources. So if you can specifically differentiate the roles and the responsibility of these two people, that is the requirement, and that is why the organization structure is in place, first of all. Number two, the authority levels. Now we know that the authority levels are different from from layer to layer. So regional manager's authority versus area manager's authority versus salesman's authority. So authority levels. And also it is connected with the goal of the organization. Goal is what? The target. So who is responsible for which target? It's not only the volume or the rupee value or the literage, or not the number of kilos, or not the number of tons. So it's not the only target. So target may be expansion. Target may be new market share growth, or it may be a new product introduction to the market, or maybe new customers, or maybe maintaining absolute customer base, or maintaining relationships, maybe qualitative or quantitative goals. So goals can be defined and separated for different roles in the organization. What is next? Divide the entire workload into smaller manageable units. I told you, if it is a geographical structure, you can divide the market into small areas, so that you specifically define this particular area for this particular salesman. So you can give a small manageable unit, make the salespeople responsible for such smaller manageable units. And developing JD underline is the job description. So you can develop job description for each channel or each category of the salesperson. Maybe you have modern trade salespeople, maybe general trade salespeople, maybe rural salespeople, maybe urban salespeople. So likewise, their job descriptions may be different. So depending on the company, organization, the strategy and the objectives of the organization. And when it comes to recruitment and selection, if you have a proper organizational structure, you can easily do your recruitment and selection. You know specifically which salesperson is the best, or which type of, which caliber, or which qualification, or which experience is required for a particular market or for a particular customer segment. So if you have organization structure, your recruitment and selection is going to be very easy. And it helps to communicate your product. We know marketing communication is not only advertising. You are taking the product to the customers through your sales teams. So you need communication. So if your market is an English speaking market or a consumer segment, you need to have your English speaking salespeople or Tamil speaking, very crucial. If you are talking about north and east markets, then you need Tamil speaking salespeople. You can't single speaking salespeople will not be able to manage those customers. So likewise, if you have a proper organizational structure which is part of your strategy, it will help you for your entire sales operation. So to sum up, so organizational structure is part of the strategy. You can have different types of organizational structures: territorial structures, product specific structures, customer specific structures, functional specific structures, or complex structures. So each structure will be suitable for different business operations. But when it comes to complex structure, it is a combination of mostly the combination of territorial, product and the customer specific or even functional structure. So also we need to understand any of the structure other than the complex structures can't operate on its own. Example, product structure can't operate on its own. It has to be combined with a territorial structure for a better effectiveness, or a customer specific structure. You have to combine it with a territorial structure for you to have a better effectiveness in terms of sales and distribution and serving your customers.